Give up your girlfriend or your whole family dies. What should I choose? My parents were in a car accident. They're waiting for surgery, urgently, and it costs money. My little sister, who has suffered from kidney disease for years, finally has a matching donor. I've been out of the army for 7 years. I worked hard, saved enough to finally patch up my broken family. But then the partner I trusted tampered with our contract and refused to pay me. In the end, he made me an offer. Alexander, give me your girlfriend and your family lives. Otherwise, they all die, except for you. Then he pointed a finger at my face and said, the reason you're still breathing isn't because I can't kill you. It's because I want to see you live in pain. Like a dog. When despair crushed me like a mountain, I remembered a line I once heard. When society drives you to a dead end, don't forget, there's still one road left behind you. That road is crime. And remember, there's nothing shameful about it. Chapter 1. Sir, your parents can't wait any longer. Please prepare the surgery fees as soon as possible. Sir, we've found a kidney match for your sister. Please be quick with the payment. Phone calls that should have brought me hope felt more like death sentences. Not long ago, my parents were in a car crash. They've already had one surgery, and now they need another. My sister's had kidney problems since she was little. During the years I was in the military, she worked herself sick just so our parents could live better. Now her condition has deteriorated to the point that a transplant is her only chance. 2 surgeries combined will cost over 1,000,000 yuan. It's not that the hospital lacks compassion. In fact, they already fronted the cost for my parents' previous surgery. Even my sister's current hospitalization fees have been piling up in arrears. I've been out of the army for 7 years. I worked hard alongside my comrades, and with my girlfriend's frugality, we saved a good amount. But a recent business deal had me poor in everything I owned. The deal went through, but the partner didn't pay me a dime. I took a deep breath, grabbed the contract and related document, and went straight to their company. Even if I had to resort to other means today, I was going to get that money back. Because that money was life itself. 30 minutes later, Coup Corporation, President's office. When I pushed open the door, I froze on the spot. My girlfriend Joanna was kneeling on the floor in front of the desk crying. Joel Coup, my so-called business partner, sat smugly behind his desk with a mocking smile. I rushed forward and helped Joanna to her feet, frowning. Why the hell were you kneeling to him? Joanna sobbed and shook her head. I had no choice. If I don't beg him, your parents and sister will die. I didn't know what else to do. I glared at Joel and slammed the contract and documents down on his desk. Joel, the contract is right here. What the hell is your excuse for not paying me? I shouted at him. Joel chuckled and shook his head. You signed with the president of a subsidiary of Coup Corporation. But that company separated from us before the contract was signed. That guy's long gone. If someone owes you money, go find him, not me. I was stunned. I didn't expect Joel to play dirty like this. I couldn't even understand why he was doing this to me. You don't think I'll sue you? You're not afraid I'll expose you online? I barked at him, but deep down I knew he wouldn't be shaken. Joel sneered. Go ahead. What's waiting for you is a long, drawn-out lawsuit. Even if you win, Coup Corporation will appeal. Then comes the second trial. He shrugged and added, as for online exposure, you should know better. Public opinion doesn't follow justice. It follows money. I felt all the strength leave my body. This frail-looking man felt like a mountain looming over me, crushing me until I couldn't breathe. Why are you targeting me? I asked weakly. Joel smirked and pointed at Joanna. Maybe you two don't know this, but she and I went to the same university. She helped me out big time once. So now I want her. I was stunned. I turned to Joanna. She looked completely confused, too. Joel smiled and said casually, "So here's your choice, Alexander. Let your whole family die or give Joanna to me." Chapter 2. Give up my girlfriend or watch my whole family die? How the hell do I make that kind of choice? My mind was in complete chaos. Joanna sobbed even harder, as if she believed all of this was her fault, that she was the one who dragged me into this mess. Joel stepped up to me, smiling as he repeated, "Alexander, give Joanna to me and your family lives. Refuse, and you'll be the only one left alive." Then he pointed to my face with disdain. "The reason you're still breathing isn't because I can't kill you. It's because I want you to live in agony. Like a dog." I felt numb. My brain had completely shut down. Through tears, Joanna pleaded, "Mr. Koo, if I really helped you before, then please spare us. Let us go." Even now, she couldn't remember who Joel was. He smiled. "Senior, you really don't remember me, do you? Back in college, there was this fat guy who got bullied the moment he arrived on campus. He couldn't even go to the cafeteria without being called a fat pig. Then you recorded one of those bullying moments, uploaded it online, and called out the injustice. It went viral. The school finally stepped in, and that fat pig didn't get bullied anymore." Joel pointed at his own face. "That fat pig was me. Back then, I was just an illegitimate child of the Koo Corporation. No one helped me, and I didn't have the power to repay anyone. But now I do. Now I'm sitting in the president's chair of the Koo Corporation. Now I can repay the favor, Senior." Joanna shook her head through her tears. "I remember you now. But this is how you show your gratitude. By making me suffer." Joel shook his head, laughing like a madman. No, Senior. You misunderstood. My way of repaying you is about making up for my own regrets. It's not really about you. You just have to cooperate. Whether you're in pain or not, that's none of my concern. What kind of twisted logic is that?" Joel kept going. "Because, Senior, in my eyes, people like you and Alexander, poor bottom-of-the-barrel types, you're not even people. You're just tools for us rich folks. You're like NPCs in a game, just background filler." Joanna suddenly stopped crying. She stepped behind me, her expression turning cold. "Alexander," she said, "your parents treat me like their own daughter. Your little sister calls me her big sis. And you love me like I'm your world. But I may have to betray that love because I can't agree to something like this." I snapped out of my daze, grabbed her hand, and said, "I've never learned how to give up." Chapter 3. Clap, clap, clap. Joel applauded, loud and hard, while letting out a manic laugh like a total psycho. Good. Now that's the kind of backbone I like. This is finally getting interesting. At least all my planning wasn't wasted. Honestly, Alexander. Honestly, Senior. If you two had just folded immediately, I would have found it so boring." He laughed until tears came out of his eyes, then suddenly went dead silent. "But I have to ask, if you refuse, are you just going to watch your family die?" I took a deep breath and pointed right at him. "I'll do everything I can to save them. If I succeed, it's because I have the guts. If I fail, then that's just my fate. But you, Joel, you're going down with them. Believe me." Then I grabbed Joanna's hand and walked out. Behind us, Joel shouted, laughing, "I can't wait to see what you'll come up with." As soon as we walked out of Koo Corporation, a wave of powerlessness hit me. The money was due tomorrow at the latest. That meant I had just one day to raise over 1,000,000 yuan. One day. Over 1,000,000. For an average man, that's damn near impossible. Joanna looked up at me, tears still streaming down her cheeks. "Alexander, my parents died early. Your family raised me like their own. So your parents, your sister, they are my family too. I'm not giving up on them. If you can't get the money by the deadline, then I'll have no choice but to agree to Joel's terms. Please don't hate me. I had no idea what to say. Let my woman become another man's or watch my family die right in front of me. These weren't choices. This wasn't a choice at all. I had to find another way. I had to survive this. Don't worry, I will get the money. I smiled to calm her, wiping away her tears. But deep down, I made myself a silent promise. If I can't raise the money, I'll use any means necessary to save my family. And then I'll wipe Joel's entire bloodline off this earth. For Joanna. For my family. I'll erase every last obstacle. I took Joanna home, then made a few phone calls to my old brothers in arms. I didn't say much, just a few words. Meet up. Time to make money. And by meet up, I meant at the company. Our company runs private security, specifically for import-export cargo ships. To be allowed to carry firearms on board, we had to register the business overseas. We board ships outside the country, and the weapons are considered privately carried. Thanks to our protection, many ships in a city have never been raided again. We made good money. But it came at a cost. We earned it with our lives. All the guys who followed me had nothing holding them back. No families. No women. The four I just called, they had no one left in their lives. Inside the company's conference room, 5 of us sat smoking in silence. The air was so heavy it felt like it could crush you. After finishing his cigarette, Lao Chi, who had a scar running down his face, leaned back in his chair and said, "If we want to make money fast, it's easy. But I've worn the uniform. I don't want to screw over civilians." Pablo adjusted his glasses. "Then let's go for dirty money." A burly guy with a deep voice rumbled, "What's that mean?" "I don't get it." Elio scratched his thick beard and grinned. "Black Bear, you know the abandoned docks at East Harbor? Those containers there, they've been turned into illegal casinos. Tons of cash inside." Their eyes all lit up at once. They turned to me, waiting. I stood up, crushed my cigarette in the ashtray, and said coldly, "I'll handle the killing. The rest of you, don't go for the throat." Chapter 4. 2 hours later, the 5 of us arrived at the abandoned East Harbor dock. By then, night had fallen. Plenty of people were patrolling the container yard. We were spotted quickly, but Elio simply said, "Old Wong sent us." That was enough. They let us through. Elio was a gambler. Most of the money he made, he gambled away. So he knew this place inside out. Soon we stepped inside one of the containers. From the outside, it looked like any other regular container. But inside it opened into a large space packed with people. Gambling tables were stacked with chips. These gamblers exchanged cash for chips at the door and would cash out when leaving. Which meant this place held a lot of cash. Elio led us up several floors until we reached the 3rd level. He said that's where the boss's office was. The 3rd floor had tons of VIP rooms. According to Elio, the games here were high stakes. Millions could be won or lost in a single round. At the far end was the office. I knocked. A gruff voice inside barked, "Come in." I twisted the handle, unlocked. Inside, 4 mahjong tables were set up, each filled with players in the middle of a game. A big, bald guy looked up at Elio. "Elio, are you bringing some friends to play?" Elio shook his head, smirking slyly. "Sorry, Baldy. You've pissed off Mr. Koo. I'm here to teach you a lesson." "Koo who? Which Koo?" "I didn't piss off anybody." Baldy looked totally confused. But we didn't bother answering. We moved. We only brought batons, used them to strike joints. 1 hit to the elbow or knee, and they were done. The ones who resisted hardest. I went all in. I'd assumed that if these guys could run a casino, they wouldn't be pushovers. I was wrong. They folded like paper. Baldy even hid behind his desk, hands raised. Elio, we go way back, man. Let's make a deal. I'll give you money, you can tell that coup guy you beat me up. Sound good? Elio looked at me, waiting for my call. I raised an eyebrow. How much are we talking here? You do realize Mr. Coup must have paid us well to take care of you. Baldy held up a hand. There's 5 of you. 1 mil each. Let me walk without a scratch. Fair enough. I paused, then nodded. Bag it up. We tossed our duffel bags toward him. Without hesitation, Baldy slid aside a painting of 8 horses on the wall, revealing a hidden safe. He opened it. It was stuffed with cash. Honestly, I wanted to take it all. But I wasn't that greedy. And this money, once I got through this storm, I planned to return it to Baldy. As Baldy worked, Loud Chi and Black Bear stood beside him, watching like hawks, ready for any sudden moves, like pulling a gun. You guys clearly came to get cash, Baldy said, chuckling. Otherwise, why bring bags, right? He laughed, but his hands never stopped. I frowned and tightened my grip on the baton. Maybe we should silence him. But Baldy seemed to read my mind. Well, I know you. You're a security company in a city, the most feared one around. You guys rule those chaotic waters and have some overseas pull too. I've looked into you. That caught me off guard. Why look into me? Baldy stopped packing money, motioned for Loud Chi and Black Bear to continue, then came over and handed each of us a cigarette. I pissed off a lot of people taking over this place, he said. Plenty of folks lost everything gambling here. Some of them have very sensitive backgrounds. Let's just say, lots of people want me dead. I've been planning to run for a while. But I know it won't be safe out there. So I thought if Ale and his security crew had my back overseas, I'd be untouchable. That's why I've been doing my homework on you. He grinned wide. Of course, anyone who runs an underground casino like this can't be simple. I patted his shoulder. Whether you go legit or sneak out, I can make it happen. Let me settle my business first, then I'll make sure you get out. Baldy just smiled knowingly. You mentioned Mr. Coup earlier. You must have pissed off the Coup Corporation, right? In other words, he was implying I might not live to pull this off. I just sneered. If worse comes to worst, none of us will be in this country anymore. Wiping out the entire Coup family wouldn't even be that hard. Baldy gave me a thumbs up. Then I'll be waiting on you, Ale. Not long after we took the money and left, carefully. Baldy didn't make things difficult for us at all. As soon as I had the cash, I rushed to the hospital. I paid the bills, then headed to the room. But as soon as I opened the door, I saw my parents and little sister sitting on the windowsill. The window, which should have had a safety rail, now had none. Mom, Dad, I shouted. My parents turned to me, tears already in their eyes. My sister looked back and smiled with heartbreaking sadness. Chapter 5. At that moment, I saw a phone on the bedside table. On the screen was Joel. He saw me and waved mockingly. Well, Alexander. You really know how to surprise me. You actually went and robbed an underground casino. But now that you've got the money, does that mean you can save your family? Then he stepped aside from the camera. And behind him, I saw Joanna, tied to a chair, mouth gagged. You son of AB*TCH, I yelled. Joel leaned back into the frame, stomping his feet in glee, laughing like a maniac, tears streaming down his face. Ah, Alexander. You think just because you have the money you're free from the choice? You still have to pick one, just like I said. Your whole family dies. or I turn Joanna into my woman right now. Come on, Alexander, make your choice. I'm getting impatient. We die. My dad shouted, and then arms stretched wide he jumped. A second later, my mom looked me in the eyes, then jumped too. And finally my little sister said softly, "Big brother, live well, okay?" And she followed. In the blink of an eye, my family was gone. And I hadn't done a damn thing to stop it. They're dead. All of them. Alexander, ha ha ha, you see? Look at you now. You look just like a dog. Joel howled with laughter. Then he stood, walked toward Joanna, and said, "But you know what? I'm not a man of my word. Even with your whole family dead, Joanna's still mine. Are you mad, Alexander?" "Ah. But if you hurry to the Koo estate now, maybe, just maybe, you can still save her. Even if she's not pure anymore, hey? She's still breathing, right? You can always clean the pot after someone else used it." Then the video cut off. I clenched my fists. No tears. No rage. Just a bone-deep, terrifying calm. Because after the sharpest despair comes the coldest clarity. I suddenly remembered a line. When life drives you into a corner, don't forget, there's still one road left behind you. That road is crime. And remember, there's no shame in it. Let the world burn. Chapter 6. When I walked out of the hospital room, Elio and the others rushed toward me. We just robbed a casino, so they stayed parked downstairs in case we needed to bolt. But when my parents and little sister jumped, they saw it all. Elio's eyes bulged. "Boss, what the hell? Didn't we get the money? Why the hell would they still? Tell me what happened." The others stared at me too. I looked at them for a long moment, then turned to Black Bear. "Black Bear," I said, "I know you always sneak back a few real toys. Bring them out. I'm going hunting." Black Bear nodded without a word. But his eyes were red. I stepped into the elevator. "Don't follow me," I said. "I'm doing this alone." No one spoke. But I knew they would never let me go alone. Soon we went to Black Bear's place. Retrieved the real gear he'd smuggled home. The same duffel bags that once held money now held guns. Outside the Koo family villa, Pablo was still glued to his phone. Suddenly he chuckled. "Boss, the whole Koo family deserves to die. They've built their empire on the blood of the people." I nodded. Everyone in a city knew what kind of filth the Koo family really was. Just then 4 men walked up to the front gate. One barked, "Who the hell are you?" "This is the Koo estate. Nobodies aren't welcome." Lao Chi darted forward. A military-grade triangular blade pierced the man's throat. The others moved too. All 4 guards dead within seconds. Pablo pulled out a device and flicked it on. No signal. Cameras disabled. I nodded and stepped through the gate. Patrolling guards rushed over, but before they could even process the bodies at the gate, they joined them. We fought our way into the Koo estate. They called it a villa, but it looked more like a fortress. Inside and out, packed with security. These weren't ordinary men. They were trained. But to us they were nothing. Because they might have trained to fight. But we've killed. I thought we'd need guns. But these guards couldn't even survive our knives. In less than 10 minutes, the first floor was a graveyard. Then an old man came out leaning on a cane. He had a commanding air. He shouted at us, outrageous. "How dare you cause trouble in the Koo estate? Do you want to die? Don't you know a city belongs to the Koo family?" Chapter 7. Gideon Koo. I'd seen the old man on TV before, Joel's grandfather. He was one of the very first sharks of a city built his empire through ruthless bloodshed, carving out territory with his sons by slaughtering their way to the top. Maybe once upon a time I'd have feared him. But now he was just another old man. I walked over, pressed my military-grade tri-edge blade against his chest and said, "Gideon, just a little while ago your grandson drove my parents and little sister to their deaths. I don't have a family anymore. What do you think I could possibly still be afraid of?" Facing the blade, facing me, Gideon smiled. He pointed at the guards we'd knocked out and scoffed. "You come here acting all fierce, but you didn't even dare to kill anyone." It was true. We hadn't delivered killing blows to anyone inside, so he thought we didn't dare. Gideon sneered again and slammed his cane on the floor. "You think you're something? To the Koo family, trash like you, vermin from the bottom rung, are disposable. You could drop dead in a ditch and no one would blink. Getting killed by my grandson was the greatest honor your kind will ever receive." I chuckled and nodded slightly. Didn't say a word to him. Instead, I turned to my brothers. "Go, bring every Koo family member down here." Then I sat on the sofa. Gideon followed and sat across from me. He crossed one leg over the other and said, "You bottom feeders are like ants. If we Koo family members step on one by accident, we wouldn't even notice. But I'll admit you're a bold ant, daring enough to crawl into our home." I said nothing. Just used my blade to clean my nails. Gideon kept talking. "How about this? Your family's dead, right? I'll give you tens of millions in compensation. From now on, you and your little crew work for the Koo family. Consider it our benevolence letting gutter trash like you ascend. You lost a few relatives and get to climb the social ladder. So many people would gladly trade family for that. So think carefully, young man. Don't waste this chance." Still I said nothing. By then, Koo family members were being dragged in one after another. Men, women, old, young. Every single one of them arrogant beyond belief, spouting insults nonstop. Others arrived from outside, dragging even more Koo members in. Among them was Joel. But Joanna wasn't with them. Maybe she was already dead. It didn't matter. I was going to see her soon anyway. The one who'd captured Joel was our only female teammate, Bianca. She gave me a nod. Didn't say a word. Joel, seeing the scene, wasn't afraid at all. Instead, he laughed gleefully. "Ah, I knew you had guts, Alexander. You actually fought your way to the Koo estate. Even brought me back here. Now this is fun." He walked right up to me, patted my cheek, and grinned. "So what's next? You gonna kill the whole Koo family? You could kill us. But after that, your brothers, your whole security company, everyone you know, they'll be dead too. So tell me, Alexander, do you dare?" My blade drove straight up into Joel's crotch. He let out a blood-curdling scream, collapsing to his knees, eyes wide in disbelief. You actually stabbed me. Alexander, you're finished. You're dead. Everyone you know is dead." I calmly shook my head and asked him with a faint smile, "Joel, we had no beef. No history. So why?" Chapter 8. Why? Joel was drenched in cold sweat from the pain, but still laughed. "No reason. At first it was just a little repayment game. Then I realized you were kind of interesting. So I wanted to see how you'd react. I set you up. Made you invest your entire life savings. Had your parents run over. Your sister, her illness was almost cured. I drugged her too." He pointed at me and said, "I just wanted to see, when bottom-feeding ants like you are pushed to the edge, how far will you go?" Madman. Freak. I gritted my teeth, scanning the arrogant Koo family members being held under control. Suddenly, Gideon spoke. "I'll tell you the truth. Our Koo family bought into something called a secret bet. If our entire family is ever wiped out, the clause activates. It'll trigger a worldwide bounty to hunt down every single killer, and even their relatives and acquaintances. Then he laughed. He suddenly burst into laughter. You know those ancient dynasties' clan exterminations, right? They'd wipe out 10 entire family branches. Well, the Koo family's secret bet is just like that, complete clan annihilation. Ah. Joel threw his head back, laughing maniacally. So, Alexander, I killed your whole family, took your woman, and what can you do now? You kill us, and your whole bloodline gets dug up and burned. I shook my head and smiled. So, Joel, you did all this, just because you were bored? Joel nodded like it was the most natural thing in the world. Yeah. So what? You poor people exist to entertain us rich ones. Even a common man, when truly enraged, can spill blood within 5 steps. I stood up with a smile. Well, since the Koo family loves playing games so much, let's play. I had the remaining security guards rounded up. I handed one of them a shotgun. Kill one Koo family member, and you walk free. This gun, after you shoot, it'll end up in the dead Koo's hand. To the outside world, it'll look like internal betrayal. A massacre from within. The guard shook his head in panic. But with a barrel pressed to his skull, he gave in. He grabbed the shotgun, walked up to a woman in her 60s, and screamed, "You disgusting old hag. You blackmailed my family, forced me to serve you. Just seeing your face makes me sick." Then he shoved the barrel into her mouth and pulled the trigger. Boom. The silent shot exploded inside her skull. Blood mist filled the room. Oh, someone screamed. "No, please don't kill us. We'll give you money. We have plenty of money. I'm begging you. I'll kneel, just don't kill us." The Koo family had finally learned fear. You can be afraid, huh? I gave a cold laugh, then turned to Gideon. The rot in the Koo family starts with you. Suauritua, Salmasul. Then one by one guards took up guns and executed the Koo family members. With each death we staged the scene, making it look like infighting. Until at last only Gideon and Joel remained. Joel was already on his knees sobbing. "Alexander, you ruined me. I'm not even a man anymore. Living is worse than death, just let me go." I ignored him. Instead, I handed him a gun. "Kill your grandfather, and you live. Or kill me, that works too. But tell me, Joel, do you really think this gun is loaded? Go ahead, try it. Pull the trigger. Kill me and walk out of here. But if it's empty, you die. You like multiple choice questions so much, so here's one for you." Gideon suddenly yelled, "Joel, I saw him load that gun. There are bullets in it." I leaned in closer to Joel. "Kill Gideon, and the Koo family becomes yours." What'll it be? Chapter 9. Bang. Joel pulled the trigger and shot Gideon. Just like that, Gideon was dead. I can live now, right? Joel asked, eyes wide with excitement. I shook my head. But I'm not a man of my word. Then, swift and clean, my tri-edge blade pierced straight through his temple. Joel dropped to his knees. Next came the final part, staging the scene. All the surviving security guards had killed members of the Koo family. They would testify that we had nothing to do with it. In fact, they'd testify we were never even there. We left, but I felt empty again. I wanted to die, to go find Joanna, to reunite with my family. Bianca suddenly bumped my shoulder. "When I captured Joel, your girl wasn't there. There was a woman who looked like her, but it wasn't her. That woman told me she was the one in the video, brought in by Joel to stage the scene." I froze. "Where's Joanna then?" Pablo came running over. Boss, I just found out Joanna went to a hospital. She tried to donate her organs to raise money. She's safe now. I exhaled deep and long, then made a decision. Go pick her up. We leave the country. Well, half a month later, we arrived at our overseas company. With us was Baldy. He gave us another large sum of money and investment in exchange for our protection. With that funding, we started hiring, expanding, rebuilding. But recently I received word the Koo family's secret bet had been activated. Someone had leaked our whereabouts, which meant hitmen were coming. I wasn't afraid, but I was realistic. You can rob for a day, but you can't guard forever. A few days later, I got a call. It was from Wolfhead Old Lee, my commanding officer back in the Army. Listen, don't interrupt. I've already sent people to take care of your new identities. Your company will be hit by heavy artillery, reduced to rubble. From that moment on, you'll be officially dead. And the secret bet canceled. Half of the bounty will be wired to your new identities account. Remember this, Alex, the nation is the one saving you. And your duty is to grow your security company to the point that when the time comes, you can sway the entire battlefield. Understood. Only finished in one breath. Understood. I saluted the air with all the honor I had left. The road ahead of us would never be peaceful. But we were alive. And that was enough. 2.5 years later, Joanna and I stood on the rooftop balcony of our company building. She had just finished a combat training session. Sweating, gasping for air, leaning into my arms, utterly exhausted, yet not a single word of complaint. I gently stroked her hair. Joanna, I promised you peace, but I couldn't deliver. I'm sorry. Joanna shook her head and smiled. Just being by your side is enough. If you live, I'll live. If you die, I'll go with you.